Hello everybody. This is going to be a little bit of an informational video, kind of my opinion in a way, but something that has worked for me in my past experiences on how to run a successful Minecraft server. Now, let's just start off at the very basics. Now, as soon as you get a server, perhaps you're buying it from a host or you're hosting it yourself on your own computer. Now, what you really want to make sure as your number one priority is that your server is always up 24/7. For if it is not up 24/7, then you're going to have some issues because players are not going to be able to do whatever they want all the time. Yeah, also it limits the amount of times that they can play on your server, which is probably the biggest issue with servers. You can see a lot of great servers, a lot of great plugins, great staff members, yet their server is not 24/7, which is the only reason why they do not succeed. Now, another reason, another little tip here is that you need to have plugins if you really want to have your server succeed. If you want to go past a certain amount of players, it's really good to have plugins. Now, some example, you really want to have a Bukkit server because Bukkit supports most plugins, and really every server is Bukkit. It's really good. Um, this server is Bukkit that I'm owner on with James 2024. Anyways, so with this, yeah, sorry, I lost track of my thoughts. Now, so you want to have Bukkit plugins, which are little add-ons to the game, but you need to make sure first that your number one priority is to have a decent player count, because each player that's on your server takes up some of your server RAM. And here, as you can see, /lag, you'll see that right now the server has 3.5 gigabytes of RAM, and right now has about half of a gigabyte free, but that's considering that the server has been up for 21 hours, 7 minutes, you can see right there. So, yeah, as the longer that your server is up, the more lag it's going to have. So it's good to have a restart every day is probably as much as that you'd want to push it. But really, as many restarts as you can have without having your players get really angered by how there are so many restarts, that's a good thing to have. For me, I would probably say to have maybe once every 4 hours is a good way to put it. Now, when you're getting plugins, you need to make sure that you're not going overboard with the amount of plugins that you're getting. You need to find a good compromise of only getting the bare minimum unless you have a lot of server RAM and your players are not filling up the shop and the slots, and your server is not lagging. Now, that's all very important because especially with the lag, because if your server is laggy, nobody is going to want to play on your server. That is just a straightforward thing. You don't like it when you play on a laggy server, neither do other people. So, yeah. It's also extremely good to have some kind of permissions plugin. So for us, we're using Group Manager right now, and you can find a lot of different tutorials on how to install Group Manager and all sorts of things like that. But yeah, with Group Manager, what it does is it allows you to create different player groups and then put each person into into a specific group, and that you can have promotions and stuff, and yeah, and then each group can do certain commands with other plugins. So a really good plugin to have as of just a plain base is Essentials. As it is, it's the bare Essentials. Has a little bit more than the Essentials as well. Has a lot of different things, but what you can do with that, what we have on our server right now is we have different ranks. We have the default rank, which everybody gets as they spawn into the server if they just join it for the first time. There's a trusted rank for people who've worked harder and people who are showing us that they are trustworthy and that they are very helpful. And yeah, so what you can do, basically. And then there's also the moderator rank, admin, each one increasing in their powers. And yeah, so that's it. With the permissions, it's really good to have that. Now, in addition to having all of that, you always want a server that has some kind of anti-grief, no matter what kind of server it is. You never want your spawn to be griefed. That's just a very basic thing. Just get a plugin such as Regios or WorldGuard, or you can even use the Factions plugin and then Safe Zone, the land. Yeah, so that's another thing that's very important when having a server. You also want to make sure that if you are in fact paying for it to keep it up with a certain host, you want to make sure that you are getting enough donations to keep it running. However, you don't really want to push people to donate so incredibly much that it's completely annoying, as if you're like threatening them. You never want to threaten people. I've been on servers where the admins will threaten you. It is not fun at all. Those servers did not succeed. In fact, they went down within a month of their opening. Now, yeah, all of that stuff is very important. And now another thing to do is to have you need to be accustomed to dealing with different types of people. There are different types of people with different personalities, each of which have different thoughts and different ideas. Now, you need to be sure that you're treating each person with equal fairness. You can't say your best friend. You can't necessarily like allow them to break the rules of your server just because they're your best friend. You need to keep that. You need to tell them not to break your rules, because that's just being unfair, and you're going to have complaints and people aren't going to like your server. Now, it's also extremely important to, when you're writing your rules for your server, you need to make sure that they are rules that are reasonable and that they are not difficult to follow. And yeah, also when you're making a spawn, you need to make all of your rules very like colorful by using essential signs and stuff. By seeing different colorful signs, it makes people kind of more attracted to them. Like, so yeah. Now, you want to always keep your players always wanting to get on. So you never want to stop, just have one thing and then stick with that. At the start, it's a pretty good thing to do. However, later on, you want to start implementing more ideas, but never go into them fully. You always want to see how players react to them, if your player count increases or decreases. You always want to see each of those things, and then you can figure out, well, if I got this new Mob Arena plugin, but nobody seems to like it, then get rid of it, because it's just causing your server lag by using up some of your RAM every single minute. Things like that, just basic assumptions based on the amount of people that are doing it and if people are enjoying it. Also, if it's causing you a lot of hassle, or if it's very buggy, if there's a duplication glitch. All of these things you need to look into. Now, also, it's very important if you're doing a type of server that's not creative, then you need to go into, with Essentials, you can go into Vanish mode by typing /vanish. You can also use a plugin like Mob Disguise, which allow you to disguise as a certain mob. Now, with all those plugins, you can just look at what other people are doing by just watching them, basically. And it's a good way to tell if they're X-rayers or if there are people who are cheating with like Notice or other things. Now, yeah, because you always want to make sure that it's fair for everyone and that people with certain like mods or hacks don't have the advantage. Here, let me think if there's anything else that we've covered that we need to cover here. It's good to implement a certain kind of player economy as well. Like here you can see that we have this, you can buy with in-game money. You can type /money and you'll see your money /money, or by typing /balance, and you can see I have $127.90, and with that money I can go and buy something at a sign stop, which you can set up at Essentials. we can go to the Essential Science wiki, and there are also shops, so we can go /warp shop that I've set up here with James, the other owner. You can see you can buy different things just by right-clicking on them. Now, you can see right now I've bought a few things, and now I don't have sufficient funds to purchase enough things. And you see, I've gone into the negatives, even. So I don't have enough funds to purchase any items, really. You can go into $10,000 of debt, I believe, on our server, but you can set it so that way people can't even go into debt at all. The economy system really gives players just the kind of urge to kind of become rich as possible. That's a really good thing to have, because people then want to play on your server more because they want to be the richest, and there's going to be a competition between other players on the server. Also, you want to be active when your server is first starting up, because when you're active, your players are going to have questions, and they need answers to those questions. Also, don't launch your server before you're sure that everything works. I learned from past experience of having a failed server. When I first got my server, I launched it very soon after I purchased it. Now, that led to its failure because I didn't have anything working. I was not prepared to have everything go as planned. Now, with this server, my friend and I, we were able to make it succeed by taking our past experiences of failure and success, and then turning into this server, which is so far going very well. Just this afternoon we had 60 people on the server, which is an all-time high for us, which is extremely good considering this server is less than a month old. We've had 700 hits on our website in 2 months. And I think that's something that's pretty darn good. Actually, the server's 2 months old, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. It's important to think of all things that your players can do and make sure that everything is protected and that everything will work before you launch it. So, yeah, that's pretty much everything that I can tell you. If there is something a little bit more, I might make a little another video in addition to this, but this is really the most that I can tell you at the moment, so I hope that your servers succeed, and yeah, good luck to all of you people, and see you next time.